So Jim, say down the road, somebody's bought a house, they're at 5 or 6% interest rate, they're able to refi and they're now down to 3%. But they were able to afford that payment where it was. And now they've refied and they've got a few extra $100 in their pocket every month.
Yeah.
What would be your number one suggestion of what to do with that money?
I mean, as a mortgage banker, if you can just apply that money to your loan, make extra payments. You had a payment you were comfortable at. In this scenario, it was a few $100s more a month. If you just continue making that payment, there are huge benefits. If you look at the amount of interest you pay over the life of a loan and how quickly you pay down the principal balance on your mortgage by paying extra every month. So in that scenario you described, I would highly recommend, if people are comfortable with it, get the lower interest rate, take advantage of that, and continue making that same payment, and you will see huge benefits financially in the long run.
I will say that's something I personally did when the rates did go down and I was able to refi a couple of years ago. I continued at my payments, maybe not quite at the rate that they were, but I continued my payments to be over what my monthly mortgage amount was. And I recently just looked at my statement to see how much more principal I've been paying down every year, and it's significant. So it's kind of nice to see that I'm building equity in my home and paying down my mortgage more quickly. So yeah, if you can refi down the road and afford, or even if you already have refied and you had that savings, maybe you can start to just even $50 a month, pay your mortgage off a little bit more, in 6 months increase that to 100. So you don't necessarily have to wait for the refi. You could start now.
You know, I can help you look at that. You can go online for a mortgage calculator. It's easy to kind of see in the long run how much that little bit extra a month will pay off in the long run with the savings and how quickly you're paying off your mortgage.
Yeah, I'm going to add a little caveat. You just said something. You could call me and ask me about that. I think a lot of times people think like, oh, if I call the mortgage guy, he's going to expect me to do a loan. If I call the realtor, they're going to expect me to buy a house. Like, we are a resource to you for information. Like, you can call Jim. I call Jim and ask him questions all the time, and he gives me great advice because everybody's financial situation is different. And so that's part of our job too. We don't necessarily expect everybody to buy or sell or get a mortgage or a refi, but we want to be your resource so that when the time does come, or you have a friend or a family member and the time does come, you're comfortable with us and you appreciate our advice. So don't hesitate. I mean, he's a fantastic resource.
I love that ongoing relationship. I want to stay in touch with these consumers. I want to have a dialogue after the fact. I want to help in any way I can. So yeah, to your point, I love that.
Well, and I know there's been people that have called you and you're like, oh, I wish they had called me 3 months ago because I could have helped to make some decisions that would make today so much better. So
don't ask your neighbor at the end of the driveway when you run into him taking out the garbage. We're happy to help. We want to help.
Yes, call the right resource.